shop, a train conductor building stage.
I want to improve my English.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Anda sedang menonton Agenda Awani secara langsung dari studio Awani di Bukit Kuala Lumpur. Itu sajalah bahasa Malaysia yang akan saya katakan malam ini, kerana hanya yang tinggal selepas ini adalah apa khabar cikgu. Dan anda akan lihat sebentar lagi cikgu yang saya maksudkan bukanlah cikgu biasa, tetapi cikgu pembantu pengajar yang datang jauh terbang beribu-ribu kilometer dari Amerika untuk ke sini membantu negara, anak-anak bangsa kita untuk belajar dan memahirkan diri dalam bahasa Inggeris. Untuk itu saya ingin meminta izin untuk bicara dalam bahasa Inggeris. I would like to welcome tiga cikgu atau pembantu guru secara rasminya. Ini adalah inisiatif bermula di antara pertemuan Presiden Barack Obama dengan Perdana Menteri Dr. Sri Muhammad Najib Razak. It finally sees it being happening on ground. You know, people coming from America and the young, and they're reciting, and at least what I saw from the YouTube videos, it was very exciting. And so I'd like to introduce three very bright young Americans who flew all the way here into this maybe very challenging environment that they've never seen before, culturally maybe. So I would like to introduce Kamayani, Charles and Shalene. Charles, the only ton among the rows here, was an ETA teacher at SMK Kota Masai 2. So did I pronounce it correctly?
For myself?
Oh no, you were from SMK Indah Pura Kulai.
Satu, yeah.
Shalene was SMK Kota Masai 2 and Kamayani SMK Sura Terengganu. Two from schools in Johor and one from Terengganu. I don't know why it's only Terengganu Johor. I was making this joke to them that they should have gone to my homestead, way there, up there, north in Perlis. But I guess what I want to talk about today, because there's been so much and so many debates, actually, so much being talked about, so many debates done either formally or informally in this country about the teaching of English. And here we have an initiative that's been going on for a number of years, bringing young Americans, graduates from American universities, putting them in places where you might have never imagined where you were before. So for 10 months, how was it? I'm asking that question as a Malaysian who looks at the standard of English, especially in the rural area, and see, wow, there's this big gap that we need to close. But you guys, not even really trained to teach, coming from various backgrounds, various universities, but in 10 months already, from the people around the areas where you were, right up until the officials in our education ministry, saying that the impact can already be seen. So now I want to hear from your own experiences, how you see the standard of English at the school you were put in 10 months ago and now. Then we go to the best exciting stories behind the scene. So I guess because he's the only thorn among the roses here, so we let him speak first.
Okay. First off, thank you for having us on the show. I think that the improvement from the first day that we were in the classrooms until just a couple days ago when we had said our goodbyes, in order to gauge the improvement level is a little hard, because we don't do standardized testing, we don't give homework per se, so there's no grading aspect for us as ETAs and the relationship that we have with the classrooms. What we're there to do is fun and interesting activities that are in English, but they focus on having the students do the speaking and the students do the writing, and the students getting the courage to stand up in front of their peers and converse in English. So I can say that overall, across the board, the biggest success or the biggest improvement was having the students go from being extremely shy on day one. You say hello to them and they're really excited to say hello back to you, but then that would be the extent of the conversation. Before you can get out your next sentence, the students would be halfway down the hallway running away from you because they were too shy, they were too scared to have that conversation. As the year progressed and they felt more comfortable in the classrooms and they knew that you joked around and that you created a safe atmosphere, a fun atmosphere, revolved around English, they became more confident in their ability to speak English. And that was the biggest improvement, was seeing their confidence level go from kind of a lower standard to being exponentially high, and they want to come to your office, they want to say hello, they want to join your after school clubs, they want to be a part of your life. How is your day, Mr. Charlie? That's a question that they would not ask on day one.
Okay.
So their confidence has exponentially grown.
So you have a few hundred more friends on Facebook now?
A few thousand more friends. I actually had to deactivate my Facebook because I couldn't keep up with it.
We'll come to that. But I've always felt that language is there to be experienced. You know, it's not some very detached from real life kind of method of teaching just happening in the classroom. You need to practice and you need to converse in order to immerse yourself into the language that you're trying to grasp. So if I put it that way, how do you see the last 10 months in that aspect? Because I understand that you're not there to grade them and, you know, put them through special assessment tests and all those, but that's exactly and maybe precisely from the student's point of view what they don't want, because that will scare them away, maybe, or it will look as another chore for them to do. But putting them to play football if they are girls, for example, and teaching them what, you know, shoot the ball, for example, or kick the ball, or save this goal, you know, for example, or going on Skype and speaking directly to an astronaut from NASA, for example, you know, mediated by ETAs. It's experiential learning. It's opening up their eyes to something and the power of language to help bring this information and knowledge across. Wouldn't you agree, or would you not agree?
I think you've hit it exactly. I think really the main purpose of this program is to make English this living thing where we go and the students are excited, because most of our students really didn't get a chance to speak English outside of the classroom. So they see English as a lot of exercises, like, all right, fill out the grammar. But then we came there and they see us and they realize that their ability to speak English impacts the quality of the conversation they're having. And so, you know, we played a lot of games in the classroom. And if they can't speak English, they can't have as much fun. And I think that's what we really did as teachers.
I guess English is fun, is part of the promise of ETAs, because I haven't seen a YouTube video where there's no laughing, shouting, jokes all around, but we'll come to that. Maybe we have some more videos to show. But after we are back, we'd like to go to Terengganu after this, because it's on the East Coast, and even in the Malay language, it's a different dialect altogether. So let's discuss experiences from Terengganu and maybe nasi dagang after this. Nasi dagang, you know. What were the most important moments for you in Terengganu, for example, apart from the food maybe? But the food is okay too, because I guess sometimes when we talk about standard of English, we tend to overlook the fact that the students might be the ones who want this more, and they might be the hungry ones who really know that it's no-brainer to learn English, but to get there somehow it's a lot of walls and gaps. And I guess ETA or people who come all the way from America like you guys just make this connection that no local teacher can make, because you represent English, maybe American English, you know, but Is that how you see it, or do you have that experience when you go down?
Of course. Well, food is a great starting point, actually.
It's the universal language.
It's the universal language. Food, for me, was a great starting point when I arrived Terengganu. The Terengganu people are very passionate about their nasi dagang, their keropok, all of those foods. And so the first couple of days I had a little difficulty actually conveying my thoughts, where I was from, who I was, to the students. But once I mentioned how much I loved roti canai, how much I love dose, how much I love the sayur saja. I'm vegetarian, and so for me, they wanted to know more. But the only way they could ask me those questions was in English, because I did not speak. I only spoke sikit-sikit of Malay. So they would have to convey that in English to me, and in that a conversation would start. And it was something that was interesting to them. Miss K, why don't you eat ayam? Why don't you eat daging? We don't understand. And I would ask them, what's ayam in English? They say, oh, chicken. I'd be like, yes, correct, very good. And in that way, using food, actually, we would use that to start activities. We would play games just using food. What's your favorite food? How would you cook that food? Can you write that recipe in English? And that was something that was of interest to them. And because that's something that they would have to think about a lot, it connected their local Terengganu meals to the English that I was teaching, which helped them realize that English could be useful, you know, outside of.
Charlie raised the point of the students being shy. You know, I would see it a bit of maybe a bit of low self-esteem to speak to this tall stranger coming from the United States of America. We see them in movies, but to have them real life in front of our faces, you know, when they are that age and they are where they are, not in the urban city centers, but there. So what were the icebreakers? You know, maybe for each of you it would be different. So what was the icebreaker for you? You know, for example, you say that the moment you start to mention food that they like and you like it too, that was the icebreaker. But for you, what was it?
Actually, it was food.
Food.
So
Okay.
I would have the students tell me their favorite food, and then I would say something like, "What? Nasi kampung? Village rice?" And I would make the students explain to me, like, it's not really rice with a village on top. And they would start speaking English because they wanted me to know.
So they had to survive because they wanted to know and they wanted to explain.
Right.
So maybe what they could not learn for 5 years in school, maybe in that few weeks, they had to pick it up because it's their own initiative. Do you think that was crucial in this kind of program and initiative?
I think that
making them want it. You know.
Yeah, they when we came here, they were naturally interested because many of my students and many of the students that the other ETAs had contact with had never seen an American before. Didn't know that, you know, America is comprised of a mix of races, a mix of religions, a mix of different types of people, and to explain that to them was a very interesting topic. They had a lot of questions about maybe our religion, or they had a lot of questions about our political structure, and these are questions that I didn't think that I would get in the first place. But they're very intelligent students. It was just maybe they were a little shy to come out with their questions, and as they felt more comfortable, I've gotten some pretty interesting questions and was able to engage in some pretty interesting conversation. Yes, we both struggled to try to make our points, or for me to explain something and break it down very simple so that the student understood it in English. And they had to break down their questions. Maybe they didn't, you know, say it perfectly in English, and I had to kind of piece it together, and we were kind of, you know, playing the charades game, acting it out and trying to get our points across. But just as much as I was helping them with their English, they were helping me with my Bahasa Melayu, and it was a really good exchange of information of both countries. You know, bridging the gap between both of our countries became easier, and it was an interesting topic for both of us. So it was a good basis for conversation at the canteen, during lunchtime, during recess. We always had a group of students that were interested to talk with us. I had a lot of students come to my office after school, when most students in America, you know, when the school bell rings at the end of the day, they're home.
Yes.
They want to go home. And these students took the time out of their schedule, out of their, you know, busy days of playing sports and after school activities. They wanted to come to my office and talk, just have regular conversation. And it didn't matter what the topic was, but that was a really important aspect of our role here, that we had students engage with us across the board in all different types of conversations.
Well, you guys brought America to Kulai, to MACEE, and to Sura. So we're going to go from the American perspective after this. What are you going to take home? I'm sure there's tons of things. I'm sure quite a few Kodak moments, saying goodbye and stuff like that. But we'll go to that after this short break. So since I have 3 cikgus here, English teaching assistants, under the Fulbright initiative and MACEE, thanks to MACEE, that facilitated all this. And what would you take home?
I don't even know where to begin, because it's been such an incredible year, probably the most challenging and just the best year of my life in many ways. I've done many things that I never thought I could do. I mean, my students, just the great memories, the support of my school and the community I was in, the friends, and just really great memories.
What were your thoughts before you jump onto that plane to fly, maybe to Kuala Lumpur first, right? And now, what are your thoughts going back?
Well, 6 months before I went, I thought, this is going to be great. It's an adventure. When I got on the flight, I thought, I'm crazy. Why am I doing this? I'm scared to even stand in front of a classroom and teach.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And going back now, I'm kind of amazed, because I stood in front of a classroom every day, and there were students who were so great and so welcoming that I wasn't nervous or scared. And it was this amazing thing to stand up there and to exchange knowledge with them and to learn from them. And
some Americans that, you know, back home would go to you and say, Malaysia, you know, like, what's that and where's that?
Yeah.
What would you say to describe Malaysia now, after your experiences here?
I would say that Malaysia is a place with really warm people who make it their business to take you into their heart. Like, the way Malaysians welcome foreigners is simply incredible to me. And Malaysian food.
Charlie, where are you going back to? In which part of America?
I'm from New Jersey, a town called Clifton.
Oh, I'm your brother. I'm Bon Jovi all the way.
Bon Jovi? Okay, all right.
So what would you go back to New Jersey with, and what are you going to tell the people, folks back home?
Of course. Coming here, this is the first time that I've been overseas for a long period of time. And I was very nervous coming at first, and luckily I was able to make a lot of friends right off the bat, and friends that will be hopefully lifelong friends, fellow ETAs that I've worked with, including these 2 lovely ladies, except Tarragona. But we've had a great time here, and working with the students has been an incredible experience. The communities that we live in, like you said, people have welcomed us with open arms, made sure that our first couple of weeks we had neighbors, making sure that we had food in the house. We had the roti guys across the street.
So you might have added a few more kilos.
Right, yeah. The roti guys across the street would always make our favorite dishes for us, show us the different types of dishes. And everybody was just extremely nice. Our mentors, Mr. Nash for myself, and Mr. Theva, and Hamza, they all helped us tremendously throughout the year. If we had any problems, we were able to call one of our mentors who was a local and could talk us through the problems, and it was extremely helpful. So I'm going back to the United States with all positive things to say, from the students to the community to our entire experience over here. country of Malaysia is absolutely beautiful, and the people are even more beautiful.
Since you're from America and the U.S. presidential elections, is topic of the moment at this time, apart from Sunday, the world geopolitical stuff that's being discussed even in America now looks just a bit different when you look at the perspective from where you were in Johor, right? Wouldn't you say that it just gives you another dimension to think about the next time you're in America, but you're looking back to the Far East, and you just going to have a different dimension now?
Yeah, I mean, my town is only about maybe 15 minutes from New York City, so our life, our pace of life is very quick. It's
the rat race
work. Yeah, it's New York City is a 24-hour city. It never sleeps, as they say. Here, I learned to be a little bit more reserved and relaxed, and maybe things don't have to be so fast-paced, and you can still get things done in an orderly fashion. So it was a good learning experience to be able to take in a different culture and to see how.
So the smaller things in life matter a bit more now?
A lot more, and it's a great thing to experience, coming from such a fast-paced life and really accepting the culture over here and learning about it, and now I can call Malaysia basically my second home. I would like to come back and visit. I'm actually extremely sad about going back to the US.
Always welcome. I don't need to say that, right?
Thank you.
What food would you miss the most?
The most?
They have nasi dagang there in Terengganu, but in Johor.
Laksa Johor was one of my local favorites.
And you would say?
And other than that, roti pisang.
Okay. Your take-home experience from here?
For me, I wasn't sure how teaching was going to be. I had not taught previously, and so this was a new experience coming in. But seeing the kids who I taught, and I figured, maybe because we're in Malaysia, they'll have a different attitude towards life, to teaching, to school. And I learned kids are just kids. Yeah. They want to have fun. They want to learn a subject in which the teacher is presenting material in a fun manner. And if you are just going to lecture at them, if you are just going to give them worksheets, they're going to be very bored. They will not want to learn anything. And through that I learned, no matter where you are in the world, kids are just kids. They grow up in the same manner, and maybe through the setting in which they are in, they develop differently. But as they are in that growing age, for me, secondary school, forms 1 through 5, they are still learning, they are still experiencing, and I'm so glad that I was a part of their learning experience in those very peak years.
How many students that you make them cry during the goodbye?
Ooh, I can't even count on my fingers, too many.
But we have Facebook and Twitter and whatever else.
Yes.
So thank you so much for making time. We hope that we'll get more ETAs coming forward, and I wish you all the best. We hope Sandy will blow over and you have a nice flight home. Terima kasih kepada anda telah menonton. Hantarkan pandangan anda sendiri sama ada tentang bahasa Inggeris, tentang pendekatan baru yang kreatif untuk mendekati pengajaran bahasa Inggeris kepada Facebook, Twitter dan juga email Awani yang ada, dan kita akan jumpa lagi dalam rancangan yang lain pula. Terima kasih kepada MACEE, terima kasih kepada Kementerian Pelajaran, dan terima kasih kepada Kedutaan Amerika. Sekian, selamat malam. Thank you so much.